depending on who you ask, dirt racing can be about a myriad of things. The control the drivers must have to navigate a corner, or the competition of racers going side by side into the turns. But sometimes it's about the thrill of over 400 horsepower flying down the straightaway. Opening up in 1938, the Speed Palace has done exactly that. Welcome everyone to round 8 of the VDRA Late Model Series here at Port Royal Speedway. My name is Finny Kuna here with Connor Horn. As always, Connor, glad to have you back in the booth. I know you've been feeling a little bit under the weather the last week or so, but glad to have you back with me, ready for some high heat action here for round number 8.
It's not 200 laps, 500 miles at Indianapolis, but there should be some pretty solid action here tonight in the heats and in the main race. Port Royal's a pretty darn good racetrack, pretty popular dirt track when it comes to the dirt racing community, so this one should be pretty fun. We have a lot of fast late models out there tonight. Pretty big track compared to what we've been at the past 2 races before this 2-week break that we've had, so should be maybe a change of pace for a lot of these drivers. The speeds are going to get pretty high tonight.
Yeah, the tumble by the river 50 here at Port Royal Speedway as we head up to the track as qualifying, practice is just about coming to an end. Qualifying will start in just a little bit. Taking a look at the weather for these drivers, just a little bit past 7 in sim. Track temperature also nice and cool. I'm sure these drivers are going to be loving that as they get ready to put their talent to the test here as qualifying is just going to begin. Of course, we have qualifying. It's actually been a little bit of a break we've had for most of April with Easter coming up and whatnot. But just for a reminder of things, you got qualifying, then a couple heat races to set the grid for the main 50-lap feature at the end of tonight. Shouldn't have any last chance qualifier with the amount of entries we have, so it should be from the heat straight into the race. But qualifying, getting ready to start.
Yeah, qualifying getting ready to start, and we're going to see some pretty fast laps. They're going to be flying down these straightaways. We saw sometimes in the 17-second bracket, maybe a little bit of a lighter field than we're used to. So, and it's especially since we don't have Tyler Gary, points leader, at least for now. Tyler Gary not in the session, not here tonight, and Beckner only 10 points back coming into tonight to restart this middle portion of the season. He's got a pretty easy chance to maybe take the point lead here. Next closest driver to him is Jordan Martin, who is 34 points back of Beckner, and he is here tonight, but obviously Beckner's showing a lot of pace compared to everyone else. Really the only one able to go toe-to-toe with Tyler Gary for majority of the season. He's already up there ripping that top side of the racetrack. We see speeds probably close to 130 miles an hour entering these corners, hit 125 there. It goes all the way down to 80 miles an hour once he rips around the bottom of the racetrack, and already right on the gas, getting it back up to 125.
Yeah, I think hit the wall in his first opening lap. Actually did not put a time down as he comes flying out to the start-finish line this time by defending race winner. We'll see one last race out at Eldora, trying to see if he can make it 2 in a row. Second on the board at the moment for him. Connor Hughes lined up ready to go, doesn't put a time down. Jordan Navarro in the 96, he puts a time down, 4th on the board. Carter Coop, we actually didn't get a chance to catch, got out there and silently put down a very quick time, 17.958 for him.
Yeah, just a little bit faster than Beckner. So Beckner hitting the wall there, going to cost him at least pole for the time being. He'll be most likely on pole for one of his heats, but Coop will start, at least we might start heat 1 on the pole, but we still have over half the field left to put a time down. Jacob Bell, Jaden Freiberger, who's always pretty quick, still yet to put a time down, so he goes across the line to start his first lap. You can see almost everyone running the bottom, trying 2 on 1 and 2, drifting it up to that guardrail. We'll see what Freiberger does here. Once again, he goes to that top side. There is a cushion up there right now, and you'll probably see majority of the drivers migrate up to that top side near the end of the race, as that looked like a good lap. It's an 18.037. Just a little bit off Carter Coop, but 0.2 off of Jordan Martin, who took the pole, and Freiberger will not get a second lap down, so he'll start a little further back in a heat than he wants to, but Jordan Martin, great lap for him. He went provisional pole. Jacob Bell is going to start his run.
You can see the 77 can do has been running pretty well as of late as Jacob York, who just put down a really solid time up to second, just 4 thousandths of a second off of Jordan Martin's time. Jacob Bell works his way through 3 and 4, a little bit in the middle lane of the racetrack, not completely up at the wall. Might be trying to put a banker lap in for lap 1 and then pushed here lap 2. Go to the bottom.
Yeah, it's going to go to the bottom. Try to as well, as only Dalton Kane and Clayton Johnson yet to put times down, but you can see Bell trying to make that bottom part of the track work, just not really getting the grip he needs and not getting it to the wall like he needs to. So we'll see if this one's faster. It is 17.972. One of the few drivers to go to the bottom. It worked well for him. Puts him 4th. And now two final heavy hitters. Dalton Kane back, I believe, from suspension from 3 weeks ago. And Clayton Johnson, always fast, always the threat, also putting a time down.
Yeah, Clayton Johnson actually on a flying lap. We might have tapped the wall there out of turn 4. We'll see if it'll count the time. It's a 17.952 across the line. It will count up to third for him. Dalton Kane, meanwhile, on his first flying lap as he's working his way through 3 and 4.
Really ripped 3 and 4 pretty well. Did not get close to the wall, not risking it too much. And on his Q lap, he goes not fast. It did not count, so he's going to have to get all his time here. It was a 9.77, but did not count. Clayton Johnson stays in the third position. He did go faster by a little bit. Dalton Kane, he also went to the bottom. We'll see if this works.
Looking quick on my timing screen. We'll see how it is across the line. 17.887. It won't be pole, but it'll be up in third, and I think that should put him on pole for one of the heats as qualifying quickly as it begins comes to a close.
Yeah, everyone getting a time down, everyone done, although it won't advance the session, at least for the time being, but really good laps. And we saw a lot of different lines in qualifying alone, and it's only 4/1000ths of a second with the top two being separated. Jacob York, again, very good at getting those laps down. He just has not been getting those finishes he probably deserves. Dalton Kane, Clayton Johnson, Carter Coop, not surprising to see majority of those guys up there. It is a little surprising to see Beckner qualify 7th. But I think he did tap the wall on one of his laps. Maybe that contributed to it. He does have some work to do in his heat.
Yeah, definitely has some work to do. But you mentioned Jacob York. The qualifying's been there. That's not been his struggle. He's been starting off these races fairly well. The finish, though, is definitely something to be desired. He's also missing out on one race. That's contributing to him being a little bit lower down the point standings than I think he would like. But looking to see if he can execute quickly here as we look quickly through the second page of results as qualifying is coming to a close. And we get ready to line up for the first, I believe we might end up having 3 heats here with the way they're stacking up. And if I'm doing math correctly, we got 7 drivers in heat 1. I believe that will mean we will have 3 heats. So let's get ready to go.
Yeah, definitely going to be ready to go for 3 pretty outstanding heats. We'll see this track, just like the others, kind of evolve over these 3 heats. Maybe not as much as we would see if we had 4 heats, but you'll definitely see that groove start to move up, probably at the end of heat number 1 even, with Jordan Martin starting at the front of it. Pretty big opportunity for him to start on the pole for the main event. It could be a good opportunity for him to get his first win of the season.
Yeah, he definitely had some speed. Another driver, he's actually gotten in some pretty decent finishes. He's sitting 3rd in the standings, but I feel like we haven't talked a lot about Jordan Martin. He's usually snuck up in there right at the end. Not the flashy driver, doesn't make mistakes. And the thing is, we always say the old mantra, to finish first, you must first finish. He's taken that to heart. He's finished very consistently around 4th, 5th place, and even 2nd place at Charlotte. He performed very well there. So he's been getting very consistent finishes, probably one of the most consistent drivers this season, and is definitely reflecting in the standings. So he will start on pole for heat number 1, and after taking pole in the main race. So we'll see, taking pole in qualifying. So you get ready to go. Jordan Martin starting on pole for this. Clayton Johnson lined up in 2nd, waiting for him to grid. Then we got Travis Beckner lined up in 3rd in the 27 machine. Next to him, Jordan Navarro in 4th. Ed Robertson, he'll be lined up in the 64 in 5th. Brent Funkari lined up in 35 in 6th place. And then rounding out our field of 7 drivers will be Joseph Swan in the number 1 machine. Still waiting on Clayton Johnson to get down to the order. We'll double check also a list. He had a couple drivers with some EOLs. We have one main feature EOL. That'll be James Shainwolf on the 14. For the heats, Dalton Kane, James Shainwolf, and Mason Kane will all be taking EOLs, of which I don't think any of them are here in this heat.
Not in this heat, and I think only one of them's in the race. That would be Dalton Kane. He'll be in heat number 3, so he will not start pole on his heat, but not at least not a main feature EOL. The other 2 not here, but good opportunity for Jordan Martin. We'll see what he can do. He's tied for most top 5s and top 10s in the series with Beckner, and tied with Gary for most top 5s. Him and Beckner the most top 10s, which that's top 10 in all 7 races ran so far for both of them. Just the only one out of those 2 to 3 that does not have a win quite yet.
Yeah, we'll see. Times could definitely change here, especially depending on how these heats end up playing out. So watch them pace around the field. 2 pace laps here before we get going. And we're starting to get pretty much close to the second half of the season. We're slowly approaching there, pretty much halfway through, 7 rounds in. And it's pretty tight at the top of the standings. with Tyler Gary just 10 points ahead of Travis Beckner. And by default, if Travis Beckner finishes semi-decent here tonight, you should be able to take away that points lead away. And then Jordan Martin not too terribly far behind, 40 points in. Again, with a long season left to go, if he keeps getting some solid finishes, maybe a couple wins, you could see that at 17 in the title fight.
And we'll see him get the first jump on this restart. There's a caution light entering turn 3 right there. You can go whenever after that light. Still waiting. He's going to wait as long as he needs to.
Then cut down to the inside of turn 4. Almost clips the wall. Will slide in front of Clayton Johnson. We are off green here for heat number 1. Clayton Johnson wasting no time. A move to the inside of the 17 will take the lead away.
Johnson showed the nose there, and it just was a little bit too much for Jordan Martin to cut off, and it completely ruined his run into 3. He almost drove through the 225 into turn 3, but Clayton Johnson, early move, already got the lead. Here comes Beckner, a little contact with Jordan Navarro from the 3rd position.
Beckner wasting no time. Will move to the inside. A pass on the 96, trying to go places. He actually lost a place on the start. Back up to 3rd and way up high immediately. Look at him rip the high lane around. Contact with the wall. Carries a run off the corner as he's going to now look to the inside of the 17. There he goes into turn 1.
And Martin's going to try to run that high side. We just did not see a lot of people making the high side work in practice in 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 seem to be a lot better. Beckner got the spot, and Jordan Martin can't really respond quite as easily. Beckner back to that top side, bounces the right rear off the wall. Martin had a pretty good run through the center of 3 and 4, just wasn't enough.
And like that, Beckner should take the spot. Martin still working way down low by the wall. Actually, will get a better run off the corner than Beckner. Will cut him off, take the lead, will take the spot away from him on the back straightaway. Beckner hits the wall, goes up high, loses his run, and from 2nd will go back to 4th.
And Jordan Martin did a great job just kind of hitting the brakes a little bit and avoiding the slider from Beckner. I don't think Beckner did hit the wall, just didn't have the grip to make that slider work, and now he's stuck in the battle for 3rd again with Jordan Navarro. He goes back to the high side, and Navarro going to put the slider on him, but Beckner, great run, little bit of contact there, no damage done, but Beckner obviously has lost some time having to rebattle this number 96 car. Well, meanwhile, as Ed Robertson gets his destroyed car off the track, it's been Clayton Johnson just kind of running away.
I didn't see what happened to Ed Robinson with the action going on in this heat, already starting off strong here at Port Royal. Travis Beckner in his hunt from 3rd place, trying to see if he can get back to Jordan Martin. And again, for Martin, just so consistent. We saw Beckner do over, under, everything he could to get by, and Martin just running his line consistently. He's held that 2nd place strong as Beckner is charging hard here. White flag in the air for Clayton Johnson as he crosses the line, and there's no doubt that he's going to win this heat.
And it's amazing. You just look at his line. He's pretty much putting his splitter, it almost looks like, into the inside concrete wall, but he's just running a perfect line down there, and that's why he has a 1-second lead.
And out of turn 4, across the line he will go. Clayton Johnson will win heat number 1 here at Port Royal. Then it's Jordan Martin, Travis Beckner, not able to make the charge up to 2nd place. Jordan Navarro, Brent Pincari, Joseph Swan, and Ed Robertson rounding out the finishing order here for heat 1.
Looking back at what happened, at least on my end, looks like lap 3, Robertson and Joseph Swan came together out of turn 4 and put the 64 into the wall. The 1 actually spun, but there was no yellow, so that's why Robertson and the 1 car of Swan finished down the order as we gear up for heat number 2.
And already getting ready for that heat, as you mentioned here, getting slightly later in the day. You can see that orange glow on the racetrack, and always love checking in the way the track looks after, as soon as we already get to racing down there, and actually trying to see if we can get view. There we go. And you can already see very fine defined lines with the loose dirt in the middle. You can see everyone running way down low by the wall or in the middle to upper groove up by the outer wall, and then no one there. You see so much loose dirt there, and I feel like that's where we're going to start to see some more drivers maybe look, because that loose gravel, that loose dirt, that's where the grip is.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot more people trying to get up there during this event. We already saw the high line 3 and 4, bottom 1 and 2. I don't know how much that will change once this track gets worn out. It just seems like there's not enough of a good, not enough really grip up there on the high side to make 1 and 2 work. We saw how Jordan Martin just charged the bottom, and it was just enough to get Beckner on corner exit. We'll see if that line may come in as well, because there wasn't anything up there.
Looking to see how things play out here as we get ready for heat number 2. Jacob York in the 97 machine will be starting on pole for this one. And Carter Coop back in 2nd place for this heat. Moving on back to 3rd, Ryan Swan in the number 20 machine. Outside of him in 4th, Bryce Senezek in the 09. Back one more row, Connor Hughes will be lined up in the 5 car in 5th place. Very fittingly, and Casey Lacotis will round out our field of 6 drivers here for heat number 2.
Do what Hughes can do. Has some speed every now and then, but starting a little further back in this heat than he would want to. Ryan Swan also been somewhat consistent this season, but I think the last few weeks, if I remember correctly, is kind of getting beat around a little bit. He had some good runs going, but the last 2 races, really the last 3 races, dating back to Charlotte, 16th, 17th, and 12th. And it actually hasn't been that great of a run for him this season. That 4th at Bristol is his only top 10 of the season. Other than that, 19th, 11th, 20th, and then 16th, 17th, 12th. So he needs a good run tonight.
See if the Rick's Hot Sauce machine can bring the heat here at Port Royal. Going to start his run with heat number 2 here, and a very long wait for Jacob York. Waits till they go on the front straightaway. Normally we see drivers take off in the middle of 3 and 4. York waiting a long time to get going, off and away for heat 2. A late start, but York will take the lead, and I think that's what he might have wanted to cover any switchback from Carter Coop. Lined up in 2nd, and Ryan Swan, immediate move to the inside in turn 3. Goes up into the wall, almost hits Carter Coop, almost gets himself in the wall.
We're almost at 4 wide there for a moment. Looks like Carter Coop hit the wall, lost the spoiler. That's going to drop him down the order. You need that downforce, and now he doesn't have it. Look at how much ground he loses off the corner. And he didn't even hit it that hard, and it destroyed the rear end that much.
And Connor Hughes phased into existence in front of all of that. Don't know where he came from, but he's now up here fighting for 2nd place.
Got by all of that somehow. Got by Swan coming to turn number 1 last time by, and you're just able to get by Carter Coop slowing. But that start by Jacob York, he saw what happened to Jordan Martin. Martin went in the corner, but it let Clayton Johnson get to the inside turn 1. Jacob York saw that, so he went late, and it ended up working out and got him a huge gap.
Jacob York already taking a strong lead away. You can see there he is, about a corner ahead of everyone else. Connor Hughes now inheriting 2nd place, looking to see if he can defend that. Ryan Swan trying to change that. Dives to the inside, but not a lot of grip remaining there. With a decent amount of grip in Heat 1, but it's pretty much all but gone at this point.
Yeah, you can already see it moving up a little bit off that inside wall. You're seeing Jacob York even move up the racetrack. Wow, that was tight. Almost got into that wall. He did get into the wall pretty hard, but it did not damage the car enough. He's still able to rip 3rd. I don't know how he got damage and Carter. He didn't get damage and Carter Coop did, but he's able to hold on. But Connor Hughes starting to get a little bit of a gap over that 3rd position at this point. But Jacob York is gone.
Gone, checked out into the distance. No really contest for 1st place, similar to Heat 1. The eyes are on the battle for 2nd place here. Let's take a look at Bryce Senizak working his way around here. Connor Hughes holding on to 2nd place, looking better and better each lap. As Ryan Swan's just trying to find something he can do. And it's going to come down to a late race end here as the field comes out of turn 4. White flag in the air.
And Swan and Senizak really wiggling off the corner, just trying to find grip. You are still seeing Jacob York kind of run that bottom of the corner, but everyone else has drifted up at least a groove behind him in 1 and 2.
Looking at Bryce Senizak actually trying to see if he can get 3rd place here in the last lap, last few corners, but it's not enough. Across the line, Jacob York will take the win with Connor Hughes in 2nd place, and Ryan Swan, Bryce Senizak, Katie Lacotis, and Carter Coop, unfortunately, with the damage to his machine. After such a good start, will be starting at the back of the feature race in the 52 machine.
You know, all it took to get that spoiler off the back of that car was just whacking it across the outside wall, mainly out of turn number 4, I think it happened. So he definitely has work to do to get through the field once again. And it didn't, like I said, it didn't really look like that bad of a hit. He just hit the concrete on the front, just at the perfect angle to mess up the rear end of the car. So I think everyone else will be taking that into note here in this heat and also the feature.
Yeah, definitely something to note. It's unfortunate because it was down the straightaway. Usually we typically see that off the corners, if anything, because that's when you have the right rear hanging out. But unfortunately tapped it on the middle of the straightaway. He's going to be annoyed with that because there's definitely some speed in that 52 this weekend. But he's going to be working from the back in the main race. As the sun starts to set, track gets covered in more and more darkness. Take a look here for Heat 3. Drivers lined up, ready to go. Taking a look at our pole sitter for Heat 3, Dalton Kane, who I believe is one of the drivers with a EOL. He is, so he'll have to be giving that up, unfortunately, in just a little bit. In behind him, Jacob Bell, sorry, next to him, second place. Moving on back to third, and the driver that'll actually move up one row, Jaden Freiberger, will be leading the field to actually to green, but starting officially in third place. Casey Borgmeyer lined up in the 101 machine. He's lined up in fourth. Chris Seidenfeiten lined up in the 99. Fifth place for him, and Christian DeBoer will round out our field for Heat 3 in P6.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone take an EOL like that. Dalton Kane didn't wait for everyone to go. He just put it in reverse and went backwards, but he'll probably be fast trying to get to the top 3 by the end of this heat. Should have some decent pace. I'm interested to see what Freiberger should be the control car. I'm interested to see what he does for this heat, because you've already seen 2 completely different ways to start this race. One driver did it in the middle of the corner, lost the lead by turn 1. The other one went pretty much at the last second. He possibly could on the front straightaway and ended up running away with it. So I think we'll either see the same thing as heat 2, or maybe someone goes immediately before we even get to turn 3, because it's that caution light in the 3 that opens up the restart zone.
Yeah, and looking to see how Freiberger just does in general here. Started off very well, second place on Lanier in the opening round of the season, then a little bit of a dry spell in the middle, the last couple rounds, then a fourth place in Limeland, third place at Eldora. If the pattern continues, should finish second here tonight, but I'm sure he's definitely looking for the win, or you're looking to be inheriting a strong finish here in Heat 3. We'll see if he can keep it there. Will Jacob Bell be the one to wrestle it away from him, or can Dalton King come back from an EOL in this heat? We'll see. We'll find out. Freiberger off and away. We are back green here at Port Royal. Heat number 3 underway, and the 24 checked out into turn 1.
Bell got away clear for second. Borgmeyer gets Seidenfeld for the position behind in that 4th position, as Dalton Kane already trying to get another position away, that 5th position away from Chris Seidenfeld, or 4th I should say. He's got it pretty easily.
Solid job. Need to get it done. Needs to make up a couple spots here, but up for the lead, really making up a spot, is Jacob Bell, trying to make a move on the 24. Will go to the inside. Freiberger way up on the wall, taps the wall a little bit.
It's going to get him enough of a run to stay on the outside, but Bell just has a little bit more pace through the corners right now. He goes to the bottom, which is the preferred line. He's got a lot of grip down there. Freiberger kind of bouncing along the top side, and Bell's got that spot pretty easily. Pretty clean pass from the 77. He goes back to the bottom. 24 still tries to wind up that top side. Lost a lot of ground in the center of the corner. Bell's got a gap now.
Fantastic move there. In behind for third, Dalton Kane. Big dive to the inside of the 101 of Borgmeyer will get the job done. Dalton Kane up to third and in the hunt. If these two keep fighting for the lead, that 7's going to be there. And there goes Freiberger to the inside. Bell now on the outside.
Jacob Bell moved up the track in turn number 1 on the entry, and he lost pretty much all the ground he made up on Freiberger. He's going to do the same thing again. He enters middle, and he can't cut it down low. It's just giving Freiberger the lead right back by trying a different line, as he's going to now try to get the top side going, while Freiberger now goes to the bottom. So they switch lanes a little bit, and no surprise, Freiberger gets the position using the lane Bell used.
And we'll get the job done. You can see that 7 car in the background closing in on both of these drivers. Bell gets tight out of turn 2 up into the wall. Gets a major damage to the right rear. Not sure if it's damaged, critically damaged it or not. He still has his rear wing on that thing. But now that's allowed Dalton Kane to make a move to the inside on him.
Surprise, Jacob Bell had the lead in the clean air. He decided to try a different line, and it cost him the lead. It's going to cost him second. It almost cost him.
He's struggling.
To run. As you can tell, he's struggling. Lost some downforce. Still has that wing, but already struggling. And we'll see if Dalton Kane, I don't think he's going to get the Freiberger on one lap, but not surprised. He made a pretty good run through there.
It's a great run from Dalton Kane from 6th, effectively starting in 6th, moving up to 2nd place. Very solid job for him. Looking to see if Jacob Bell, if he can hold off Casey Borgmeyer, who knows that he's got some damage. You see, Bell blocking the bottom, gets pushed out of the way by Borgmeyer, and it looks like, I'm not sure if he's going to try to pass him or not. The win will go to Freiberger, Dalton Kane 2nd place, and Jacob Bell will secure 3rd over the 101 machine of Borgmeyer in 4th, DeBauer 5th, Chris Seidenfeld in 6th.
Yeah, DeBauer and Seidenfeld were having a pretty good fight. Don't know if it went sour, but Freiberger lost a lot of ground, or not Freiberger, Seidenfeld lost a lot of ground in those last 2 to 3 laps, but pretty good battling throughout all 3 of those races as this night settles down on the Tumble by the River 50 at Port Royal. The lights are on, darkness has pretty much set in, and now the warm-up to get the track kind of prepared for this race is going to start up.
Yeah, already getting down to it, a quick run of the heats, get a chance to see what everyone's got. And one of the big drivers are going to be looking for and seeing what they can do is going to be Carter Coop in the 52. And that should put him starting, I think, if I'm not mistaken, second to last, with a last place finish in Heat 2. Definitely going to be one to watch. Has the speed, unfortunately, just didn't quite get it done. Actually curious how he sees to see what he's doing as far as the points are concerned, running 8th in the points. He's had a couple of good finishes here and there. He's at 2 top 10. Best finish was 6th at Bristol.
Yeah, and that 7th was at Lanier to start this season. Other than that, his best finish besides those top 10s are 2 13th place finishes, so definitely struggled for consistency inside the top 10, but he has no finishes outside the top 20, and only one finish outside the top 16, so he's had a little bit of consistency to stay 8th in the points, but probably not where he wants to be running, as he's going to have to recover and try to keep it clean on that right rear, try to run up at the front, but he's going to have to get through guys like Freiberger if he wants to get to the front and even think about competing for his first win.
Yeah, and Freiberger is one of those drivers, I think when we look at now the wins column now that we've kind of had a couple rounds under our belt, you know, with Tyler Gary dominating the first 4 rounds of the season. We've had Dalton Kane, Clayton Johnson, Travis Beckner all visit victory lane in the last 3 rounds. We've had 4 different winners last 4 races, looking to see that continue potentially for tonight. And I imagine that Freiberger, he's looking at his chops, he feels he's earned it. I would say that from his performances we've seen, he can definitely get it. It's just that consistency, I think, that he's lacking at the moment.
We'll see if he's able to do it. He starts 3rd tonight behind 2 very fast drivers. We know Clayton Johnson's very fast once the track gets worn out. Jacob York, a little bit of a wild card, always fast in qualifying, and he finally had a good heat to go along with a good qualifying run tonight, so he'll start in the 2nd position, but he just has not been one of those drivers that is able to get finishes. Maybe tonight's tonight. He is tied for 8th in points with Carter Coop with 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, but 18th at Eldora.
Not going to win at doing that.
No, I don't want to do that at all. That's a lot of damage to both those cars. As he has had good runs, but it just seems like a lot of the times he could have so much better of a run if he didn't have some issues on restarts or just contact with other drivers here and there. He's had 3 top 6 finishes and then finishes of 11th, 12th, and 18th to go with those. So just needs to have a really solid run. And if he could just keep the pace and the track position, he's a threat for the win.
Yeah, I'll take a look at Casey Borgmeyer, who I'm actually just realizing he's actually running 5th place in the standings, and he's a driver that really has not gotten that much airtime. And a similar boat to Jordan Martin, just not really the most flashy driver, but he's been securing the wins. Not the win, I should say, securing the points. He's been one of those drivers that's been fairly consistent. Grabbing a couple, he's grabbed 2 top 5s. Bench finish was at Charlotte, at the chaos that occurred at Charlotte. Was able to get a solid 4th place finish there and a couple other top 10s here and there throughout the season. We'll see what he can do in the feature as he get ready and lined up to go here for a 50-lap run here at Port Royal. The grid is set. Get down to gridding here, get them lined up, and get ready to go.
Should be a pretty fun night at the Speed Palace, and like you were talking about, that should be pretty interesting to see what Borgmeyer can do. His worst finish was 2 weeks ago at Eldora, and that was a 15th place finish. Every other finish, every race he'd been in until that was a top 10 finish, so the epitome of consistency, but not able to get wins, almost like Chase Elliott in the Real Life Cup Series, but it kept him solidly in the fight. I mean, you got Gary and Beckner pretty far out there, but he's only about 40 points, about 39 points behind Jordan Martin for 3rd, and Freiberger's only 16 up the road, and Clayton Johnson, with how good he's been, he's 11 ahead of him, or 1 ahead of him, I should say, even though, you know, Clayton Johnson's probably had the better top-end speed, race-winning speed, but Borgmeyer's consistency has kept him ahead of him.
And we'll take a look quickly at drivers where they're lined up as we get ready to go. Clayton Johnson will be the driver starting on pole for the feature race here. As Jacob York lined up 2nd next to him, then Jaden Freiberger, Jordan Martin lined up 3rd and 4th. Connor Hughes lined up in 5th after he snuck his way through in heat number 2. Having some connectivity issues, though, I've noticed, so that'll be something to keep an eye on. Still carrying over into the feature. But some notables, I believe, was it Mason Kane or Dolan Kane that was supposed to get a feature EOL? Or Shane Wolf?
only feature hero was Shane Wolf, and he's not here tonight. Dalton Kane's only EO was for the heat race, so he will be able to start up in that 6th position.
Taking a look at the weather here just before we get going. Air temp 68, track temp 53. I think that's as cool as you're going to get here. About 10 p.m., not 10 a.m. in the sim. As field slowly works their way around here, and the field's going to be control of Clayton Johnson. Can he get a second win of the season? Can Jacob York get his first? I mean, looking at second and third, and really fourth for that matter, all of them chasing their first wins of the season. Very much could be here tonight, especially with Tyler Gary, points leader, out of the picture for tonight. Has not been able to attend this race. So it is very much up for grabs. Travis Beckner back there in 7th. Jacob Bell back in 9th. And Carter Coop back in 17th. Definitely one of the notable drivers to watch. We'll see here as the pace truck pulls in, fielding control of Clayton Johnson. We'll see now where he decides to go. We saw him go a little bit early on. He will do the same as he did in the heat. 50 laps on the board. We are green here at Port Royal. Whoa.
Oh, man. Dalton Kane. Beckner had maybe a little contact. 7 lost a lot of ground from that.
Thought I saw him almost go around there. That's why I cut away from that. But as we cut back to the front of the field, we remain green, working the way into turn 1. Johnson, Freiberger, Hughes, your top 3. Hughes looking very strong in this 5 car.
It was actually not Beckner he had contact with. It was Ryan Swan who put the 7 around a little bit. Almost. And there's even more contact here. And Ryan Swan's in the middle of that as well. Borgmeyer gave him a little bit of a hip check. It says Jacob Bell and Dalton Kane for the 7th position. Kane got back by all of them as quickly as he went backwards. So already kind of recovered, even with a little bit of left front damage.
Yeah, big cluster of drivers here in the midfield, and drivers are already getting annoyed at each other, it seems. Early on, you can see Carter Coop in their background trying to see if he can make up some ground, but very quiet up near the front. Very much single file up near the front at the moment. You see everyone working to the bottom of the racetrack, and imagine that's going to change really only after a couple laps of doing so.
Carter Coop, he's up to 12th after starting 17th. No one really to follow up through the field either. He's kind of the only one who's having to make up this much ground with the speed he has. Got by Jordan Navarro. Senesac trying to work on Borgmeyer at the same time, as Borgmeyer a little bit up the racetrack. Higher line just not quite there yet, and Carter Coop did not get that good of a run either, as he almost ran over Borgmeyer, and Navarro and him had a little bit of contact. So you already see it's a very wide track, but not a lot of grip on the high side, and 1 and 2 is causing a lot of tight action.
Yeah, very tight action here. Just checking up ahead. Jacob York getting ahead of Connor Hughes for 3rd place. That swap position as they're still trying to find some sort of order back here. You mentioned Carter Coop working to the outside of Borgmeyer and not quite able to get the drive off the corner I think he would have liked. As I see some exchange for position, Dalton Kane working around Jordan Martin. Martin trying to do the switch back out of turn 2.
Yeah, Kane, good move. Got a big run out of turn number 4. Able to make it work as Martin tried to cross him over. Just didn't have enough grip through the center to make that work. Kane, left front damage doesn't hurt him too much. Back up to that 6th position. Just above, just pretty much to where he started.
For the lead. Jaden Freiberger closing in on Johnson here, looking to bring the fight up to the 225.
Connor Hughes in 4th, had to defend Beckner there in 3 and 4. Beckner couldn't make the move work on the bottom of the racetrack. He's really the first driver to try to way topside in turns 1 and 2, and got a decent run off, but lost a lot of it on entry and center, so it didn't really garner that much ground. But doing it in 3 and 4, a lot different. You saw him kind of tap that right rear off the wall and got a huge run up to the back of Connor Hughes that time.
Trying to find something, trying to see if he can make it work. Because Connor Hughes has some more internet issues. Works to the inside. Travis Beckner. Connor Hughes going to try to pin him down in contact. Going to hip check the 5 up the track. Dalton Kane, the 2-for-1 deal up the inside, will get the spot, get both spots.
Oh, he kind of crowded Beckner into the wall there. No love lost between those two. Remember, that's why Dalton Kane was suspended for Eldora, as these two find each other once again, as Kane has gotten right back through the field after losing all the ground he did. Hughes trying to fight back, but the internet really an issue. While those top two are still, back and forth with each other, kind of right along each other, but no exchange for the lead yet. And Jacob York's just kind of in his own world as Hughes tries to get fifth back, crowds Beckner almost into the wall.
I don't think appreciated the shove that Beckner gave to him. Stuck on the inside now. Beckner working that outside as it slowly comes in. He's got to be very careful of the way he was riding that wall. Almost made contact with it, but he knows the limits, or it seems like he knows the limits. Oh, as the 5 comes up the track into the 27, he will go down low. Travis Beckner, and we'll get the spot back on the 5 machine as Jordan Martin tries to have a turn and get 6th place.
Can't really make retaliatory contact with someone when you're blinking that way, so it didn't really work out. It seemed like he tried to crowd Beckner, didn't work, as now he's faded back to 6th, able to fend off Jordan Martin for the time being. Battle for 4th heating up. Kane and Beckner all over each other. They are monitoring Connor Hughes' internet. That just came over the radio. Meanwhile, Beckner went for the slider on Dalton Kane. Did not quite work as they're almost 4 wide at turn number 4. Bell making contact with Carter Coop. They're still making contact. Coop gets through it. Senesak tries to get about 2 positions at the same time. Ryan Swan just trying to get ahead of all of it as Dalton Kane and Beckner made even more contact in the turn number 3 that time as Beckner got back by him. Clear for 4th place.
Long green flag stretch here at the opening laps of this race, and it doesn't look that way because everyone's starting to get heated up and starting to fight. Big fight occurring here as Carter Coop moves himself up into 8th place, really showing that speed he has to muscle his way on pads. It's really ironic to see Carter Coop and Jacob Bell making contact and wrestling with one another. The admins for a lot of the area series and race control for a lot of those series as well. So it's funny to see them get into a bit of a tussle. Not sure that was intentional or not, as Carter Coop will secure the spot ahead of Ryan Swan, who's trying really hard to get past Bryce Senezek, Jordan Navarro, all in this fight here.
He's moved up 9 positions, so really impressive what he's done. There's a car on pit road.
Oh, hello. Battle for the lead. Freiberger to the outside of Clayton Johnson. I thought the gap looked pretty close, and that's why. Freiberger working to the outside. Johnson defending on the inside.
I don't think Clayton Johnson thought he could run that high. He kind of went to the middle there instead of committing top or bottom, and I think that's what cost him the lead. Freiberger, good run around the top in 1 and 2, and he's got the spot. You can see Johnson trying to fight back on the bottom. Got a pretty good run, but just not quite enough as York and Beckner right on top of each other for the 3rd position. Beckner, immediate slide job, didn't waste any time, not even before the center of the corner, but not a great run off of 4, but it's good enough to keep 3rd position, excuse me.
You see Jacob York trying to take a diamond approach to the corner, trying to defend, keep Dalton Kane at bay, try to catch back up to Beckner, but Beckner is there fighting with Johnson and Freiberger. It's a 5-way fight for the lead, essentially. You see all these drivers in frame. Johnson a little bit off the wall, not sure why. That opens the door for Beckner to go on through.
You know, you do save the tires a little bit in dirt. I don't know if that's maybe a case of this, but all of a sudden he's really struggling. He's only running in the middle of the racetrack, not really able to push that car. I don't see any physical damage, just running the middle and not really having any momentum doing it. Beckner's flying by him in a hurry, and he's going to get the Freiberger in a moment. He's been 10th faster the last few laps, although that time Freiberger picked it up. Oh, Beckner hit it good that time.
You see Jacob York and Dalton Kane up on the wall. You see, I think Johnson doing the best of what he can, trying not to leave too much of a gap for these drivers to go on through, but also keep them at bay. Might not be able to keep them at bay this time by Jacob York. Has a little bit of a window to the outside. Dalton Kane trying to figure out which way he wants to go in this battle. York gets the purchase point, and off of turn 3 he will go side by side for both of them, and for the lead, big dive for Travis Beckner in turn 3.
Freiberger was ready for it. Oh, Beckner hit it pretty hard. I don't see much damage somehow, but he lost a lot of ground trying that slider where he did not work. Pretty spread out race. Top 5 are pretty much gone. I mean, they're in a league of their own over Hughes and Jordan Martin, 6th and 7th, but the battle for 9th is still crazy. Senesak, Swan, Jordan Navarro all over each other.
Man, they're going to have to call this place the Spark Palace in a second here. I keep seeing sparks every time these guys go flying through the corners. That's how much they're playing with the wall. Those quarter panels rubbing on the metal walls to the outside. And as Jacob York and Dalton Kane work past, Clayton Johnson will drop back to 5th. And again, you mentioned tire saving. We've heard drivers talk about that in the past. Definitely a thing, a cause for concern, or definitely something to keep in mind as the leaders catch up to lap traffic.
Yeah, Seidenfaden has an issue. We'll see if he stops and brings out a yellow, some damage. Trying to keep it to the left side. I can't believe how packed up 9th on back still is, by the way. Oh, caution's out. And that was for Seidenfaden stopping on the front. So that is our first yellow, just past halfway.
Oh boy, an entertaining first opening run to this race. See what happened to Chris Seidenfaden. He's in the back by himself. I wonder if he had something.
He had some sort of damage.
And then, so at one point ended up in the wall in turn 1. I think that might be coming up this time by.
I saw Beckner.
There it is.
Beckner was really good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'll do it. Oh, man. He almost went out of the track. And that's right past pit exit, so he had no chance of...
Yeah.
Even if he was at pit entrance, you know, with, you know, how the yellows get triggered, we saw it out of the door, there's no way he was going to be able to probably turn that wheel left without...
I think he's looking to see if there's some wall opening in the wall to the inside of the track. Unfortunately, there's nothing except for 1 or 2 walls for safety vehicles on the pit exit and pit entry. It's pretty much it. So first caution will fly, a very aggressive opening run there, very clean opening run with only 1 caution, bringing things to a slowdown. Of course, caution laps do not count, so we'll stay paused at lap 26, but wow, I think we definitely found our 5 drivers that are going to have a shot at winning this race because they've all got speed in different places. And then the one thing I'm really curious is to see with Clayton Johnson what he's got up his sleeve.
Yeah, we'll see. It was just very odd to see what he was doing. It just didn't look like he was pushing the car, and from what I've seen from him in this series, that's not the pace I expect of him. So I can only imagine, I mean, it's 2 things. He's either trying to save his stuff for the end, or he just really doesn't have that pace. But you're definitely right about the top 5 thing. Freiberger, Beckner, York, Dalton Kane, Clayton Johnson. I mean, no one was touching their pace in this race. I mean, if none of those 5 win, I'll be shocked, or I won't be shocked when it's a 5-car pileup that takes them out of it. But
and
I mean, they were 2 or 3 seconds clear of Connor Houston's 6th. Really good pace.
If there is a 5-car pileup, I'm trying to find where he is because, man, does my scoring software not like with these caution laps not counting. This man sitting in 8th place.
And this is the reset he needs, too, just to get back in this race.
That's what he needed. We'll see what he can do. He's got new lease on life here. Second after this race, getting ready to go. Freiberger leading them down. And ahead of Travis Beckner, we're back green at Port Royal here for round number 8 of the series. Travis Beckner up against the wall. Freiberger taking a shorter lane to the inside. Will park the bus on the exit. Now Travis Beckner looking to the inside.
Has another chance to try a slider. Didn't work last time. Little bit better move this time. And Freiberger was in the wall in the middle of the corner himself, so he couldn't really get a good run off. So Beckner gets the lead at the stripe.
And there they go. Look at them all aligned to Stern and Carter Coop already up to 6th place, so effectively in the battle. And then in behind, Dalton Kane, a big run to the inside of Jacob York.
Still no challenge from Clayton Johnson. Kane, the only one really to the bottom in the top 6 or 7, while they're kind of piling up on one another for this 3rd spot. Kane, not good run. Jacob York's going to try to get a 2-for-1 special, while the top 2 get away. Not the top 2. Beckner gets away from all of them.
Nearly 4 wide for a second there. Dalton Kane turning down hard to get to the inside of Jacob York. Freiberger Johnson in behind. And there's Kane trying to do the slide job. Will put the 97 in behind him forcefully. And a hip check to the inside that pushed out Freiberger way to the inside in turn 1.
Well, Beckner loves to see. I mean, he is gone past all of this chaos as they're 3 wide for the 3rd position. York did not get a good run. Clayton Johnson trying to get both of them. Is there room for a slider on 2 cars? Yes, there is. He gets both of them. York tried to cross him over. Freiberger still got to the inside. We almost went 3 wide again as now Dalton Kane's getting away from all of this chaos.
Oh, Jacob York, a deep dive to the inside turn 1, pushes up into Johnson, pushes him up to the wall. Carter Coop collects some damage and loses his nose, and just as he got up here to the fight, he's already got damage.
And I don't think they're going to be happy about how that went down. Jacob York just kind of pushed Clayton Johnson all the way up the track. Nothing the 225 could do. York just ran him into a wall, basically, and Carter Coop got the worst of it, but it's not horrible damage, but it's definitely going to hurt him.
Yeah, well, let's keep an eye on that, see if he can keep up near the front here. As, a big dive with Johnson and York. This is going to get ugly if it hasn't already. They're going to both keep each other in the wall. Turns hard, and the caution should fly here.
Yeah, no one spun. That's not going to be a yellow, at least yet, but there's no doubt what happened there with Clayton Johnson. He's pretty much stopped on the track. He pretty much stopped on the track to cause that yellow, but there was no question what happened in turn 3.
Oh, boy. I don't think the admins pretty much need to review this because it happened right in front of them. We'll take a look and see how this started. Got into each other, and I think this is, we saw this as a couple laps in the making.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that a few laps ago. Jacob York kind of did the same thing in turn 2. Clayton Johnson returned the favor, but unfortunately got a few other drivers with some damage and also just stops on the track to cause it.
I wonder if we can get Carter Coops on board, if I can find him in the order. Wait, this thing shuffles up. Nope, actually it's 17. Jordan Martin, there we go. He was right behind this.
Yeah, no attempt to get to the bottom there.
And he's saying, don't mind me, I'm just going to get past all of this. And just like that, Jordan Martin finds himself in 5th place. 4th place, actually.
That was going to get interesting at the front. Kane was closing in on Beckner a little bit. Now he's going to get another restart here. It will be, I believe, another double file restart as Clayton Johnson and Jacob York still going after each other. Looks like Connor Hughes got some good damage in that as well as he's on pit road.
And did Carter Coop, did you mention he went down to pit lane?
Yeah, looks like he got even more damage from that, just trying to maybe get the front clip back on it.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunate thing with caution laps not counting, can sit down and get some repairs. I don't think he got a meatball flag, I should say, so I think he should be able to get back out there in a semi-decent amount of time.
Caution lap's free, so he can get back out there and I believe still be lead lap. But this will be an interesting restart. I mean, we saw the speed Dalton Kane had there at the very end of that run, but he's still got a tough pass to make in Beckner. They've had contact in races past, so that can get interesting as well. And a contender in Clayton Johnson pretty much out of it, as well as Jacob York. So those 5 we were talking about, it's pretty much down to 3, and it is the top 3 now with Kane, Beckner, and then Freiberger in that 3rd spot has moved up.
You got Jordan Martin also here in the mix. Jordan Navarro, we haven't talked about, I feel like, in a while. Sitting back there in 5th, and Bryce Senizak in 6th. So some new drivers entering the fray. Should something happen to the leaders, we'll see here. For Beckner, it's looking a little bit stronger. Can Kane or Freiberger change up the order? There goes Travis Beckner with the jump off and away back green. Here on the restart, Beckner hard into the wall already in turn 1 and 2, trying to secure that high line, and off they will go to the races.
Kane just didn't get that good of a run off the corner. Seems like the bottom's pretty worn out. Everyone's bouncing the right rear off that outside wall at both ends of the racetrack right now as Jordan Navarro trying to get a top 5 out of the day. He's right on the rear of Jordan Martin into the corner.
And this is where you know as a driver when you have a lot of competitors crash out or have damage, this is your chance to get some solid points. And he knows that Jordan Navarro trying to see if he can make up. Same thing with Bryce Senizak in behind. Even Ed Robertson, too. We talked about him, his struggles this season so far, sitting there in 7th place. But it's getting more and more difficult to pass. We're going to see more and more slide jobs here in the last 15 laps of this race because the grip on the inside is next to gone.
How about Ed Robertson? He's up into the 8th spot out of all this. Casey Borgmeyer getting back through the field. He was not running as fast earlier. Didn't have the pace, but he's taking advantage of some attrition up to that 7th spot as everyone kind of getting up to the high side of the racetrack now.
Yeah, and Travis Beckner checking out for the lead. In behind, Freiberger catching up or trying to catch up to Dalton Kane here. And is going to take a very big and very committed dive to try to make up a spot.
Lakatos got turned from 13th. Looked like Clayton Johnson turned to 13th, but there was no yellow for it. Stay green. Lakatos loses track position. Well, like you said, Beckner's pulling away. The battle for 5th is on with Navarro and Senizak.
This is what happened there. Clayton Johnson getting into the 13 there. And I imagine if the Johnson wasn't already under a microscope, that's only going to probably add to his record here at Port Royal as we're just about 10 laps to go. You can see the top 3 very much checking out. Then a small group of Jordan Martin by himself and a battle heating up here for 5th place. Navarro versus Borgmeyer.
Senizak really wiggled off the corner. Borgmeyer got him. Navarro got Senizak at the same time, but Borgmeyer going to try to claw his way into a top 5 near the end of this one. Next time by, 10 laps to go. Borgmeyer gets the spot. They're all on top of each other. Navarro got the short end of the stick there. Senizak gets him back, and here comes Ed Robertson looking for another spot.
We're talking about Borgmeyer just kind of sneaking into these things near the end, along with Jordan Martin. Both of them have the same profile in that regards, and a solid run here for Borgmeyer looking to secure a top 5. He's got a hornet's nest of drivers in behind who also want a top 5 to the name. 3 wide behind as Jacob York trying to enter back into this picture and salvage something out of tonight.
Has this Clayton Johnson with no right front fender. He's trying to get by all these guys. He's also working by Connor Hughes. And just even with the incidents we've had, like 5th on back is just a battlefield right now as Connor Hughes and Jacob Bell had contact. Bell hits the inside wall pretty hard, but he kept it straight. That also won't be a yellow. Meanwhile, those top 3 are all still right on top of each other.
You see right there, there was Jacob Bell in the background getting a piece of that inside contact to the wall.
Sorry, Dalton Kane made a slider into turn 1. He might have caught Beckner by surprise. Now he's got the outside line. Beckner's going to have to slide him right back here in turn 3, as it worked pretty well the last time. It works well again, but a little bit better of a run for Dalton Kane this time.
Side by side, and I didn't think we would have a battle on our hands here, but we might. Dalton Kane, big slide job, secures first place for now. Travis Beckner, he's got to switch up his game plan because I don't think he thought he had a race on his hands here.
Wow, it's a big dive way deep into the corner from way far back. It's not going to work. Kane's got it back. Beckner got caught against the wall in 1 and 2 last time by. That's why he couldn't really move. He's going to try it again, but Carter Coop kind of in the way there as Dalton Kane took Beckner and us by surprise.
Carter Coop trying to stay out of this and run his own lane. Will go to the bottom. Everyone else will go up top. But Travis Beckner looked like he had this one secure, but in the late stages, Dalton Kane comes out of absolutely nowhere and takes the lead away from him.
Yeah, I think we were in replay. Oh, caution's out meanwhile, so it's not quite over yet.
Oh,
Ed Robertson against the wall brings the caution.
Oh, man. And we were just talking about the decent day he was having. We'll take a look and see what happened to Ed Robertson, and we'll also take a look back at that pass for the lead that Dalton Kane made, or at least the charge he made initially. And whoa! Clayton Johnson coming back from nowhere.
I thought that's what was going to cause it, but really Swan and Robertson got hooked, and there's nothing Ed Robertson could do. I heard Dalton King playing on the radio telling him to get off the track. Well, you can't really do that with a broken right front. It's kind of hard to do. I can imagine frustration. You just made the pass for the win in your eyes, and all of a sudden you got to do it again.
Yeah, I'm going to try to find that initial pass we saw with Dalton King, because boy, did he come out of nowhere. He was closing in from the looks of it. He looks like he was closing in for the last couple laps. And then I think it was the next run into turn 1.
You saw Beckner kind of get against the wall there, then he hit it again down the straightaway, and I think that's where he lost his momentum. He kind of slapped it against the wall on the concrete, lost momentum, and it's just enough time for Dalton Kane to get there and get positioning on the outside with a slide job.
Yeah, you're talking
hits it a little there, but he still has ground, but right here.
Yeah. That kills so much momentum, that extra drag, and I think Kane saw the opening and took it. And so
trying to look, he might even have a touch of, I can't tell you have damage from that, or maybe I think he got damage from that the next few laps in the right front. But yeah, just a little bit of momentum loss is all it took for Dalton Kane to have an opportunity at it. Now it's going to be a tough pass to make with single file restarts here.
Yeah, under 10 laps to go. We got single file restarts, and that should help Dalton Kane out just a little bit. But Travis Beckner, a little bit time to recollect himself, make another game plan, re-strategize, and get going. And you can see there's the damage to the left rear. It doesn't look terrible considering how the rest of these cars are looking, and everyone's been up in that wall. That's where the speed is. That's where that cushion is. That's where the grip is. So 1 lap to go here till we get the restart underway. 5 laps should be coming to 4 laps to go. Does Travis Beckner, does Jaden Freiberger have anything for the number 7 of Dalton Kane, or can Kane secure a run for his 2nd win of the season? We'll find out in just about a minute's time here. As the pace truck's in, Kane control the field.
See how late he wants to wait. Doesn't want to give Beckner any sort of chance in turn 1, but Beckner kind of called his bluff. He timed it very darn well, but he's just not quite close enough to have a good look. He hit the wall there that time. No, he's got damage. He hit the spoiler off the thing. Beckner's got the lead back.
And that was the last thing he needed. He's got critical damage to that car. That's going to take him out of the running. We saw this happen to Carter Coop in the heat, and Kane should be sliding down the order. Freiberger taking advantage of the situation, moves up to 2nd place.
Can't believe he did that with no pressure. Beckner's back to the front, and I'm not sure if Freiberger has the pace to really do anything to him.
Freiberger now, last driver who has a chance at challenging Travis Beckner. The rest of his competitors have gone by the wayside. Does Freiberger have anything left in these final few laps?
As Jordan Martin slid in front of Dalton Kane for the 3rd position, just trying to get by that wounded number 7. 2 laps to go. Senesak trying to get a top 4 out of the day himself. He's going to get by. Freiberger trying different lines as Dalton Kane loses ground big time, but I just don't think the 24 has what he needs.
And everyone's swarming the number 7. They know he's damaged. Oh, and a spin potentially. Borgmeyer around goes Navarro. Caution won't fly. White flag in the air.
White flag's out. That will probably be cleaned up by the time Beckner gets around, and he has no pressure.
No pressure whatsoever. Everyone's faltered by the wayside. The 27's remained strong. He will slide out at turn 4. Win number 2, back-to-back at Port Royal for Travis Beckner. Win number 2 of the season.
Johnson and York have more contact coming to the line.
Oh, and Ed Robertson's car is a junkyard on the back straightaway.
Really ended that thing. I don't know who or what he hit. I think he hit Dalton Kane, actually.
Oh boy, I think we might have to look and see what happened in behind the leaders there on the last lap. Those entertaining last couple laps. As
Man,
Travis
Dalton
Beckner,
Kane's he's gonna be kicking himself there.
the one that got away, and I think as we see Travis Beckner do a little bit of a victory lap, we'll take a look and see what happened. Well, I guess we'll start at the on the restart and just start with what happened to Dalton Kane, and that's really, it's so unfortunate because all he had to do at the very least was make sure that he didn't get damaged, but that was really the nail in the coffin for him.
It's just Beckner did not get the perfect restart. I mean, he was kind of there, but it was going to be a bonsai move into turn number 1 if he was going to make a slider. But, you know, Kane gets a good run off the corner, and he's all good. He just uses up too much of the track, and that all it takes to knock that spoiler off, and it's over at that point.
Yeah, we saw
I
that.
think there's a lot of contact after that. I think part of it's just Dalton Kane's so slow at that point. He just kind of gets in the way. Had a lot of contact with a lot of drivers, including some with Jordan Martin right there. More with Jacob York there. And Borgmeyer, that's where he gets kind of caught up in the middle of it.
Yeah, I think we caught the end of this, and I think we went away from it right around this part with Borgmeyer getting turned around. So the white flag is in the air. This is him, Jacob York, Clayton Johnson. Oh, these are all so many quick drivers here near the back just due to damage. Ooh, I think he was trying to go for Jacob York.
You got him.
Johnson and York were sideways. They continued on. And then what happened? Oh.
Robinson hits him.
I wonder if they had something. I didn't realize they had any bad blood between each other at some point in this race.
I think Kane was complaining about the yellow, so I think Ed Robertson figured, I'll give you back pain to complain about, basically.
Well, that'll wrap up things here at Port Royal. Travis Beckner taking win number 2 of the season back-to-back for him. Jaden Freiberg finishing second place. Strong effort for the 24. Again, unfortunately coming up just under a second short. Jordan Martin sneaks his way to another solid podium finish for in the number 17 machine. Bryce Senizek getting a decent result for himself. Ryan Swan in 5th. Clayton Johnson recovers all the way back to 6th place, although I imagine he's going to have a lengthy talk with the stewards after this race. Jacob York recovers to 7th place. Ben Pincari in 8th. Borgmeyer 9th. Jacob Bell in 10th.
Once again, Borgmeyer just consistently getting a top 10, although he was running better before he got half spun coming to the white flag. Case Lacadas got 11th out of that. I'm sure he'll actually take that finish after getting spun by the 225. DeBoer 12th. Didn't talk about him either. I think he'll take that. But most drivers down the order probably deserved better. Connor Hughes is running better. 13th for him. Jordan Navarro was also running better. 14th. Obviously, Dalton Kane leading on the final restart. Ends up 15th. Ed Robertson 16th. Carter Coop, he came all the way from 17th to get up into the top 5, and it ended as soon as he got up there. 17th for him. Joseph Swan 18th. Chris Seidvan, first car of this race, 19th.
Yeah, unfortunate to see some of the retirees near the end, but a solid run for everyone. Actually, we didn't really have that many retirees. Only 2 drivers retiring, 17 of the 19 drivers coming to the finish. Take a look and talk to our 3rd place finisher, Jordan Martin. We'll start with him first. Hey, Jordan Martin, you got a copy with us in the booth?
Yep.
All right, man. Well, congratulations. We were just talking about before the race even started. You somehow find your way, sneaking your way into the action near the end and getting these solid finishes. Another 3rd place finish for you. Another solid result for you. Walk us through how that race went.
Well, starting from the heat qualifying, I got a surprising pole, and then heat race I kind of fell back, which I wasn't really too upset about. But then once the feature started, I couldn't keep it on the bottom to save my life, so I fell back like quite a few positions. But then once the track started slicking off, and then everybody started colliding with each other and just, you know, moving the wall about like 5 feet backwards, I was able to start making some passes. So just chaos out there.
Yeah, definitely did seem like some chaos out there. Was the plan for you just trying to kind of wait and see what the leaders did and just kind of get your way into the battle, or were you actively trying to insert yourself into the fray and into the action?
Yeah, like near the beginning of the feature, I was just kind of watching what everybody else was doing, so I just started running bottom, and then I saw Travis and I think Dalton Kane start running the top, so then I started moving up there to try to make up some ground, but wasn't really working until the caution came out, and then I was just following their lines again until I slowly made it up to the front, and then they started wrecking into each other, and I just had to like use my same strategies as all the other races, try to keep my car clean and less damage as possible. Here it's very easy to to rip your spoiler off, unlike the small tracks where it's easy to rip off your right front. So I was just trying to conserve my spoiler the whole race.
All right, well, Jordan, solid result again. Another podium to your name. Congratulations.
Yep, thank you.
And moving on down the order, or I should say up the order, to our second place finisher, Jaden Fiber. Jaden, a solid result for you, a solid run all day long. You're up there in the fight in the top 5 all race long, but unfortunately just a little bit short of a victory. Walk us through how your race went.
It was pretty decent. Just ran around in second there for a while and then got by Clayton for the lead, but I can't run the top as well as some of them guys can.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, especially towards the end there. We saw everyone was up near the top, up near the wall, pretty much in the wall half the time, working their way around the track. Do you feel like, was there anything you could have done, really try to keep, of course, Clayton Johnson, and of course, then at the end, Travis Beckner at bay?
I don't know. Just not care about knocking the spoiler off and just going wide open on the top. I don't know. I can't do it like they think. I'm not that good.
Well, you say that you still ended up getting a solid second place finish, Jaden. Congratulations for that. Another couple solid points coming your way.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll be wrapping up with our race winner. Win number 2 of the season. Travis, I'm sure you're thrilled. Definitely a hard-fought earned one. And we saw there at the end, Dalton Kane came flying out of nowhere. I think he probably caught you off guard as well.
Oh yeah, definitely caught me off guard. Sucks what happened to him there on that restart, losing the spoiler going into 1. And I saw that happen. I'm like, oh, it's time to go. I gotta go now. I gotta go. But this thing was hooked up on the top tonight, and I love the character that the track had as well.
Yeah, and I was just talking to Jaden about that. Pretty much everyone was up near the top, and somehow you managed to make it work. We saw you be one of the first adopters to go up there and get that high lane working. And, we heard drivers talk about tire saving earlier on. Were you necessarily trying to save, or were you just trying to push there up on the top and find the openings where they came?
The first few laps when I was on the bottom, I was definitely backing it off, saving my right rear tire. And then I went up to the top just to explore it for a lap, and it ripped, and I was like, you know what? I'm going for it. We're going pedal down to the floor, and we're rim riding this thing.
All right, well, Travis, another win, second win of the season for you. Of course, especially with your main competitor, Tyler Gary, not present. And from the looks of it, looks like you also got the points lead as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to get in Tyler's ear this weekend about not racing. Might have to black flag him for it in practice, but yeah, definitely awesome that I took the points lead. Sucks Tyler wasn't here, and yeah, that was that was a fun race. And before I go, thank my sponsors: Hendrick County Motorsports Park, Elite Entertainment, Wilson Race Cars, my dad, my mom, and because I haven't done it the past few weeks, I'm sure you're watching. Thank you, Jeff, and of course, got to thank y'all. Best broadcast on iRacing, hands down. Don't care what anybody says. Definitely, by far, beat the Coke Series broadcast. So, and everybody that came out watched. Dawson for putting up this dirt league. I've been looking for a dirt league for a long time, and I finally got one. And now I actually am quick at something for once.
Well, Travis, congratulations again for win number 2. Imagine probably not the last time we're going to be talking to you in victory lane this season.
Hopefully not. Hopefully we could go get that championship this season instead of choking it away.
Thanks for talking to us, Travis.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll be wrapping up interviews from Port Royal here tonight. And Connor, I got to say, definitely did not disappoint.
Yeah, a lot of action, especially the first half of the race. We had 5 drivers pretty much above the rest at this Tumble by the River 50-lap race. Very, very fun. And then obviously once you get that one yellow to stack things back up and you get some new players near the front, it's going to get more aggressive. And that's kind of what we saw. A lot of crashes in that last half and some yellows. And we thought Dalton Kane might have stolen it, but just one little mistake was all it took to get Beckner off his, tops. All it took to get Beckner back on the top step, I should say, and he's able to pull away at that point. Good run for Beckner, and all of a sudden, he's the man in charge of this points battle.
Yeah, we'll see what things have ahead for us this season as we approach closer and closer just to the halfway point here in the final mid-season stretch before we got a long summer break ahead. But before that action ends, it's going to start back up with round number 9 next week at Williams Grove Speedway. Definitely want to stay tuned to that for the next round of this season. It's been absolutely thrilling every step of the way, and you're definitely going to want to tune in to see how this championship battle truly plays out, because boy, is it just getting started. But for tonight, my name is Finney Kuna here with Connor Horn, wrapping up coverage here from Port Royal Speedway. Thank you for watching.